Welcome to the 5% Club podcast, the space where ambitious leaders go to master their careers and their lives. I'm ShaylaMKing, a former C-suite executive turned performance and happiness coach. And this is the podcast for leaders who want it all. The promotions, the paychecks, and luxurious amounts of time for what matters most. Each week, I'll teach you how to work less, make more, and design a life you love. Let's go. Welcome back to the 5% Club. I'm ShaylaMKing, your favorite performance and happiness coach. And today I'm pulling back the curtain on the coaching industry. You're about to find out what really happens in coaching, what tools professional coaches actually use, and why consults with me don't feel like anyone else's. So there's coaching and there's mentorship. Most coaches only offer one, but I do both because I've been in your shoes. I've sat in the executive meetings, the boardrooms, those high stakes decision rooms, and now I coach leaders through the exact things I've lived, using world-class tools and real talk to help you grow at light speed. So today I'm giving you a behind-the-scenes look at how coaching actually works, and I'm going to show you 3 powerful tools that I use that make all the difference. So let's get into it. So what actually happens in a consult? Let's bust some myths. This isn't a fluffy sales call. It's real coaching. A consult isn't the same as a full coaching session, but it gives you a powerful taste. You bring your biggest challenge, your secret goal, or just that nagging feeling that something has to change. I listen deeply. I ask smart, honest questions, and I take you through a real coaching process so you can build awareness about what's actually going on, so that you can decide what you want and what you want to do next. And a lot of people that I meet with, this is the thing. They're still not crystal clear on what they want. And I've used this analogy with you guys before, but you can't call an Uber driver to your house and say, pick me up at 1234 Street, and then just take me somewhere better. You have to be able to describe what's better so that you can start making plans to get there. So part of what we do is we help you get clear on what you actually want. And we uncover the mindset you'll need to follow through. So not just what actions to take, but how will you be sustainable about it? What do you need to believe to do those things and to show up in that way and to act as if it's already true? So one of the clients said to me, I got more honest feedback in this free consult than I've gotten from my boss in 7 years of working for him. This is what's lovely about the consult, because I don't have an agenda. My only goal is to help you grow. So I'll do that through some really honest but loving feedback. All right. And with real feedback, you grow fast, like career altering, relationship transforming, life redefining fast. So before I became a full-time executive coach, I spent over 20 years leading training and development in the corporate world. I've trained thousands of executives, helped promote and hire hundreds more, and built leadership systems that are still in place today. Now, I combine that experience with some of the most powerful coaching tools in the world to help my clients win at work and at home. And while every consult is different, I tailor it to you. I want to show you just a few of the tools that I've drawn for so that my clients can win at work and love their whole damn life. So, you'll get to see what it's like to work with someone who's not just motivational, but highly trained, highly experienced, and ready to meet you where you are. Today, I'm going to show you what's under the hood in coaching. These are 3 real tools used to help you transform. And I'm going to walk through each one of those tools one by one so you can see what is actually behind the scenes. All right, let's go. So the first one is a classic. I've used it for over 15 years. It was talked about a lot at Koch Industries when I worked there. And so it's called the Human Action Model by Ludwig von Mises. And it is used for change management. And it really explains why humans change and why they don't. And so you can use this tool for big group things that you're working on. If you're trying to push a new initiative, I used it in mergers and acquisitions when we were acquiring companies and making that transition and that day one activities. And so you can use this for any major change initiative you have at work. You can also use it if you're leading your teams. And so these tools that I'm going to talk to you about today, obviously, the more that they are learned and mastered and put into practice, the better. But this first one is very easy for you to take and apply immediately. So you can use this one yourself as a leader in your company. Humans only take action when these three things are true. First, they must be uncomfortable with the current state. Now, most of my clients, most people scheduling consults with me are uncomfortable with something in the current state. Often it's their current role. Either they've been in it too long and they want to get promoted, or they hate their boss, they feel misaligned with their company, they feel like they're underpaid. Something is usually wrong, right? So the first thing is, well, you're uncomfortable with good when you know it can be great. You're uncomfortable with good when you know you're capable of extraordinary. That's how 5%ers think. We have that in us to do more and be more, and it's unfulfilled. So step one, uncomfortable with the current state. If people aren't, then they're not going to want to change. And you guys have seen this play out with different change initiatives in your company, where if you're going to a new system and your end customer doesn't have a pain point with the current system, they don't know why you're messing with it, and they sure don't want to come to training about how to do and learn something brand new that they don't think adds value, because they're not uncomfortable with the current state. So you have to first make them uncomfortable somehow. Maybe they don't understand the pain that it's causing your department. Maybe they don't understand the additional cost or what is really the pain point underneath on why you're addressing it. So creating that vision for what's uncomfortable is helpful in this first part. Clients come to me being uncomfortable. That's why they're calling a coach, because they want something to get better. Okay. Number two, a vision for a better future. And sometimes that's just by seeing other people like me that have transformed their entire life through coaching. And so you want to have that vision that there is something better out there. Have you seen an example of somebody who's both highly successful and happy? So the 5% Club was designed because everybody wants to be in the top 10% of performers and of earners, and they want to be at the top. But half the people at the top are miserable. So when people are uncomfortable with their current state and they go, yeah, but I need to just be satisfied because look, everyone I see at the top is freaking miserable. They're getting divorced. They're still somehow, even though they're making so much money, they're still strapped for debt. They're just working all the time. They miss their kids' whole lives. Like, why would I want that? So that means they don't have a vision for the future. They don't see that some of us are 5%ers and we're out here loving our whole damn life while making money and while becoming everything that we can be in this world and contributing in a massive way, right? And so first, uncomfortable with the current state. Second is having a vision for the future. All right. And the third is actually believing that vision is possible for them. This is where a lot of people get stuck. You know, the pointing and it's like, yeah, but he only did it because, his dad's an executive, or she only made it because she went to an Ivy League school, or they just have connections, or they're a class favorite, or like whatever the excuse is, or it's only because she's pretty or he's tall or la, la, la. We justify why things won't work for us. So even if we've seen it, we're like, yeah, but not for me. Like for me, one of mine was, I'm just a girl from Kansas. I never thought any of my life that I have now is possible. I truly didn't. I've mentioned before, but when I was growing up, I remember that my mom's like, oh my God, you're so smart. Like, I bet you could be a supervisor at the grocery store. Like that was my mom's homely dream for me, right? So I just didn't know it was possible for a girl like me with no Ivy League degree, no connections. I didn't grow up with money. I didn't know what a female executive looked like, right? And I just didn't even know that this world was possible for me. So part of that's beautiful with a consult is I tell people, like, if you don't have your belief yet, you can borrow mine until you get there. You can borrow my belief. I know it's possible for you. I have done it myself, and I have helped so many clients do it as well. living this big, bold life that they didn't even know was possible. And so part of the beauty on a consult is that we can talk about what's possible. And people will bring me these problems and they'll say, oh, it's like monumental. I'm like, oh, I know how to fix that. Yeah, done that dozens of times. Got you. I got you. Let's do this. And you'll have me with you by your side as you go through something you haven't been through before, but I have. And so that is the beauty of the model. So we're going to go through it one more time because this is the tool again. Use it with your team. Use it in change management at your company. Ludwig von Mises human action model. First, uncomfortable with the current state. Second, a vision for the future. And third, belief that vision is possible for you. All right. So that is tool number 1 that is part of my coaching process. So I have a giant toolbox and I pull in the right tool at the right time. One thing that's beautiful about my one-on-one coaching is that it is 100% customized. So you get exactly what you need. And I always pull from the performance and happiness framework and that covers everything you need for results, relationships, and rituals. But I also pull from these 3 coaching tools that I'm going to share with you today, along with many more. And so that one makes a lot of sense and you can use it real time now. All right, let's go on to number 2. And I want to do a podcast on number 2 by itself because it is where I start all thought work. So remember, I teach results, relationships, rituals, and mindset. My mindset work is based on this next tool. It changed my entire life, and you can use it in every single situation. So it is called The Model, and it's from Brooke Castillo at the Life Coach School, and it is a tool that I am certified in and that I learned from her. So it's a way of understanding how your thoughts create your results. So I don't know if you've ever read the book before, Think and Grow Rich. It's a really cool read. Here's the story behind Think and Grow Rich. A young writer was meeting with Andrew Carnegie and interviewing him for a journal. And Andrew liked him so much that by the end of their time together, he took him aside and he said, I want to ask you something. I want to know if you will spend the next 10 years of your life interviewing the 500 most successful, wealthiest men in the world. I want you to ask them what brought their wealth together and what made it possible for them. And then I want you to take all that information and synthesize it down so that the average man can have those lessons, can understand what made them successful so that they have a chance at that success as well. Now, when you do this journey with me, I'm not going to pay you any fee. I am just going to cover your expenses, and I want you to dedicate 10 years of your life to this. Are you willing to take on this challenge? And he started his stopwatch, and he gave him 60 seconds to decide. Because as you know, a lot of the most successful people are quick decision makers. And within 30 seconds, Andrew said yes. And he went around the world interviewing Henry Ford, William Wrigley, Theodore Roosevelt, Wilbur Wright, Thomas Edison, W.M. Howard Taft, Woodrow Wilson, Charles Schwab, Dr. Alexander Graham Bell, and 400 plus of their colleagues so that he could understand what makes some people more successful than others. And what he found as he synthesized that all down is that everything starts with your thoughts. And so he wrote the book. His name was Napoleon Hill, and he wrote the book Think and Grow Rich, where he tells their stories. And in it, he talks about how everything starts with our internal thoughts, and then those thoughts can become our emotions and our reality, and that driving force behind it. So that is an important tool that I use in my work, and it's an important tool that helps craft this model that I'm going to tell you about. I will do a whole episode on the model and how you can use it in different situations of your life. But I work on this with my clients, and we pull up a real model live and say, okay, what was your thought in this situation? And based on that thought, what action did you take? And based on that action, what result did you get? Right? And so we go through it real time to work through scenarios and learn why we're doing what we're doing and why we're feeling what we're feeling. So for today, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to explain to you what the different categories are on the model, and then we'll deep dive it another time. Sound good? All right. So the first thing on there is your circumstance, and circumstances are always neutral. So what is the circumstance for the situation? And then what thought are you having about the situation? So our circumstance, we have a circumstance, and then we have a thought about the circumstance. And then the thought creates our feelings, and the feelings determine our actions, and our actions create our results. So it's circumstance, thought, feeling, action, result. Each and every time in every situation. That is how the thought model works, and we work through it for each unique situation. So most people try to change their actions, and when you start with just your actions, it's not sustainable because you're not changing how you're thinking and how you're feeling. And so we make sure we change it at the root level to where it can be a quick transformation and you can move on. I've done it with myself for so many things, including like physical activity. I now go to the gym 4 or 5 days a week, and I have for over 3 years. And it's because I changed my thought about it. That allowed me to change how I feel about it and the actions I take. Doesn't mean you always love it, but I now have a predominant thought that it's who I am, it's what I do. And that thought is bigger to me than I don't want to, right? And so this is how, this is one of the most important tools in my work, and there's no way to explain how magical it is in these 3 minutes. So we'll do another episode on that where we just talk about the model because it is such a powerful, powerful tool. All right. So most people try to change through their actions, but the real shift happens at the thought level. And when we go to the root, that's where we up level quickly. So that is the thought model. The third and final tool is going to be one of the most pure coaching tools that I talk about today. And this is a tool that ACT teaches. ACT is I'm going to give you a lot of acronyms real quick, okay? The ICF, the International Coaching Federation, is the most recognized organization in coaching. And so if you're an ICF certified coach, that means that you've gone through a pretty rigorous amount of training and have a lot of common thoughts that the coach's job is not to tell the client what to do, not to give advice to the client, because the client is whole and resourceful and creative. And we trust that the client will be whole and resourceful and figure out their own path. And so what this tool that I'm going to take you through is one of the ones that I learned in my ACT Brown University executive coaching program. And it's called the Reactive to Creative Journey. So it basically outlines the exact emotional and mental shift that leaders need to go from stress-driven and stuck to calm, creative, and in control. And so there's 7 different stages. It starts with being like in a situation where you're triggered by something and you're reactive. You're responding to it. You're frustrated. You're annoyed. And whatever you're doing right now is not working for you. And so we start by really understanding, where are you at now? How are you thinking about it now? And what is that getting you? Right? Like, what is the impact of that having on you? And how are you, what results are you getting from that? Right? So you really kind of understand the current state first. And you realize that if you keep thinking about it that way and keep behaving in that way, then you'll keep getting the result that you don't like. Right? And so we try to see it where it's at and then say, is there another perspective? So maybe your inner critic is telling you a lot of negative things about the situation. And maybe all that victim stuff is coming up and saying, well, I can't, and it's not fair, and it only is happening to me, and it'll never work, and all of that. And so we're going to like see what we're seeing now and then step back from it and saying, is there another way we could look at it? And so we pause and we try to figure out if there's another way to approach it. And so there is an entire process that coaches go through where they ask questions to bring you through this reactive to creative journey. But then what happens is, as you see that and you can uncover it all, then you're like, what if I stopped thinking this and started thinking this? What if I stopped feeling this way about it and I started feeling this way about it? What if I did this thing different? And so you get really creative about the topic at hand and say, If I did that, I'd probably get a completely different outcome. I'd probably feel completely differently. And then we talk about what that shift could look like. And it's kind of going back to the human action model. We talk about that vision for the future. We talk about how that would feel so that you want to make that change and you want to take that inspired action, right? And then we talk about like, what would you need to believe? What would you need to think so that you could actually believe that? So you could actually go take those actions and take those steps. And we take you through that process so that you say, here's where I was at, here's what I hated about it, here's what wasn't working about it, here's what my inner critic was saying about it. And sometimes we'll use like metaphors and other tools to really see the situation and build that awareness. And then once you have awareness, we start talking about your ability to have choice in the matter, right? You get to be so empowered by the situation and saying, yes, you can choose to stay here. Or you can choose to look at it differently and do something differently. And so that choice part is really important. Then the client makes the choice, and then the client can start thinking about that forward path. So I always end all of my coaching calls by asking, what resonated with you on our call today that you really want to anchor in? Because these aha moments, we want to anchor in so that they stay with us. And so many times my clients will say, this one call was worth my entire fee for coaching. This one aha moment is going to change everything for me. And so we talk about that at the end of our call, and we really anchor in that learning. And then we take action. So what's the one thing you're going to do to take a step towards that this week? Or what's the one action you're going to do? I might also ask, what is one thing you're going to say no to and one thing you're going to say yes to based on that new awareness, that new knowledge, that new aha, right? And so then you'll create your action plan of what you're going to do and how you're going to hold yourself accountable to that. And that is how in just one call, you can go completely through the reactive to creative journey, where you go from feeling stuck and frustrated to being able to have awareness in the situation, to realizing you have choice in the situation, and then to be able to make that decision and that path forward for it. So they can be huge breakthrough calls on just one single coaching session or one single consult. So on the consult, I help you pause, reflect, and start shifting into the creative version of yourself. The one who leads with power and clarity and is in charge. Everything I do is to help empower you so you can design a big, bold, beautiful life. All right, so those are the 3 tools. We went through Ludwig von Mises' change model. We went through The Model by Brooke Castillo in the Life Coach School. And we went through the reactive and creative journey from Act and Brown University. So those are some of the tools that I use when coaching and that you can expect to see coming up. You won't even notice them. They're all blended in naturally, but that will be coming up when you have a consult with me. So if you just got a little taste of what happens in a coaching session, and here is the awesome part, the big news. Consult week is opening next week. I only do this twice a year, so you need to grab your spot now. I open up my calendar, 1 hour, free with me. If we never work together, it's fine. We'll get to know each other, and I'll give you a taste of this, and you will get a breakthrough during your 1 hour with me. Do not pass up this opportunity. The spots will go fast, so get on my schedule now, ShaylaMKing.com. It's ShaylaMKing.com. and book your free one-on-one session. So I do this twice a year roughly, and it's when I have coaching spots open. So I have clients that graduate and then I open them up. So I've got 2 spots right now. Now I'll have 10 to 20 people on a consult, and so I won't have spots for everybody. So I don't want you to worry at all that this is going to be like a high pressured sales situation. We're going to get to know your problem and give you a solution on that call so you have something to move forward with. And then if it makes sense, we'll talk about what it's like to work together, and you can try to grab one of those coveted spots. So either way, I'd love to meet you. And this is going to be the last time that I'm opening them for anyone to start working with me in 2025. After this, we'll have one more consult week at the end of the year, and that will be for clients that will start in January of 2026. So this is the last chance for the year. So if you want 2026 to look different, then now is the time to get started. So let's get you unstuck, clear, and on your way to a life and career that excites you, where you feel fully alive. I want you to blow your own damn mind with what's possible. I'll see you in your consult. Let's go. Thanks for joining me in the 5% Club today. If you're ready to work less, make more, and design a life you love, go to ShaylaMKing.com to join the 5% Club waitlist. Each Monday, I'll send you something you can implement immediately, and you'll be the first to know when applications open for the Performance and Happiness Lab, my group training program designed to accelerate you into a happy, confident executive who loves their whole life. See you there.